Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Yeah, well, we are those people, and we've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts podcast. Pop the Balloon or Find Love, episode 14 recap. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
And this is not planned, both wearing gray today. This is actually not planned. But I see you were peeking in on my screen before you jumped in.
Okay, you can say that if you like.
Look, man, this is an interesting one, right? Because as we did the first one, which was episode 13, and it was the women that were lined up, the guys coming out, and this time we get to see the reverse. How do you feel about the show this time around? Because you saw it the first time, then you see it this time. A difference, or you feel like, okay, this is a little fair, even in the way they do it?
I think the guys were a lot more respectful than the ladies were. I mean, they weren't so... Well, I mean, they gave the people a chance to even introduce themselves before they popped. Where the ladies would, as soon as the guy would walk out, based on his outfit, they would pop right away. So at least they got a chance to let the women introduce themselves. So that was better.
Hey, you got to give props to Arlette, man, because her focus. Because if I'm standing there hosting it, and all of a sudden, pop, 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 I might start ducking. Like, wait a minute, because as they start popping balloons immediately, it's got to be distracting. I mean, you're there trying to answer questions like, "So, what are your deal breakers?" Pow, 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 pow. You're like, wait a minute.
I mean, she does a great job with herding the cats. Now, again, what I would hope as this show evolves, if you think about Married at First Sight, Love is Blind, there's a vetting process to be able to get into it. Just don't walk in and like, I'm here for Love is Blind, and you get into the deal where these people, these cast of characters, and for this episode, I had to really check myself because I'm older, right? These guys are 24 to 31. I'm older. I'm a communications major. I've always been good at being able to speak. And just some of them, I'm like, Jesus, get the words out of your mouth. Like, just say your thought. Say what it is. So it was frustrating, but I had to they're 24 to 31. Maybe that could be the issue. So maybe as the show evolves, they start to vet people just a little bit better.
I think as we found out later in this show, there's some last minute calls. Baby Doll says, "Hey fellas, I don't know how y'all watch this show over Never Ever Met. This show is so cringe, it was hard to watch." Do you agree?
Well, Never Ever Met is worse, but it's over already.
Yeah.
So it's not like we stopped watching Never Ever Met to do this show. Never Ever Met is over. Now, will we do season 2? I mean, we got a lot of good views on it, on the recaps, maybe, but they're both crap. But at least there's a bit of a vetting process for Never Ever Met. It's probably better than this one. I feel like on just YouTube, they're just people walking down the street. Hey, you. What are you doing for the next couple hours? How'd you like to make $25 gift card to Red Lobster? Come on in here.
I disagree. I like this show. I disagree. Now, over 90-day UK, yes, I'll take Never Ever Met any day.
Yes, 100%.
Well, look, let's get to this week's show, right? First person that single that came out was Tony, and when she's got a rental car business, she's got a real estate business, and an online clothing business. Right. I know that just made you cringe immediately.
I'm just thinking to myself, no, you don't. Let's just stop with all this stuff. And I get it. All these people want to claim they're entrepreneurs or something like that. Just stop that. What's your real business? What brings you the most revenue? That's what you do. The other things may be side gigs. But what bothered me is for fun. What do you like to do for fun? For fun, I like to go swimming. I love doing business. What? Who says that? For fun, I love doing business.
Well, it depends what you consider business. Some people like doing business for real.
Oh, goodness.
And then her deal breaker said she needs a man of God. And is it me, or did she apparently not understand what a deal breaker is? Because she just kept going on and on and on. I'm like, okay, do you know what a deal breaker is first?
Well, it is what it is. And we're going to see a common theme. with this. And I tell you that this is why I struggled on the black dating app, because everyone wants a man of God, and that's not me. So hopefully she's able to find what she's looking for out of this group.
So first thing she has to do, because there are no pop balloons when she walks out. Fellas are like, because like you said, the fellas were a little more respectful and didn't just insult people as they walked out, at least at the beginning of the show, right? And so she's then tasked, before even asking a question, go pop 3 balloons based on looks, since everybody here is, biting their tongues and not popping balloons immediately. She popped 3 of them. Who stood out to you in this one?
Mark. That's the musician. She popped his because he's a bigger guy, and she comes from a family of bigger people, so opposites attract, which tells me that at 25,
she knows.
Tony knows that she's going to grow. she has a lot more to give, if you will. So she's like, I don't want both of us to be big people, so she needs a smaller dude, which I get it. That makes sense.
Hey, she said, hey, I'm Paul Abdul. Opposites attract. Yes, this is what we need. And when she said that, and Mark was like, huh? Because he's thinking like, well, I mean, you're not big, and I'm big, so opposites attract, right?
Yeah.
but what she was saying,
she wants her relationship to look like a 10, not a 00.
Oh, Jesus, that was hilarious. Then you had, let's see, who was the other one that she did pop? She popped Sean, because she's a little bit taller than him in heels. Now, this guy, it's almost like he was there at the beginning of the show, and then I never saw him again. And the thing that stood out to me about this was because in the comments on Arlette's page, somebody's like, yeah, that whole a little taller than you in heels is going to keep your ass single.
It's petty, but that's what the dating world is like. It's just that little stuff.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't like Namdi's outfit, but that was, he was the third person that she ended up letting go, right?
Yeah, because she didn't like his shoes.
Yeah. So next round comes up, and she gets to ask a question, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years? Who stood out, whose answer there stood out, because she had to end up popping 2 balloons after this anyway.
Yeah. So Junior, who I like because he's a recruiter, but Junior, his goal was obviously growing his career. He wants to buy some more rental properties. He already has a rental property set in Austin. But she wound up popping because she felt their goals didn't align. And he was like, well, wait a minute, I thought we were both in the rental business. And she's just like, oh, well, no, that voice. But no, I just couldn't, I just don't see it. Okay.
Yeah. She was not feeling it at all.
No.
And then even when she popped Daryl's balloon, it was the same thing. I guess it's the shoes. And that's just where she is on a lot of stuff. Oh, well, it's just shoes. I don't know. This is the part I don't like about it. It's when people say they don't know why. Like, why are you popping people's balloons? Like, oh, I don't know. I had to, so I just did it.
Why not just say, well, you're attractive, but I'm more attracted to some of these other people that still have their balloons. That's why I picked you. There's nothing wrong with you. I just more attracted to these.
Right.
That's a fair thing to say.
Then you get to round 3, right? And I want to say she asked them, does anybody have kids, right? And only one person said yes.
Yeah.
And that was Red. And then she ended up popping his balloon because she's like, that's a little too fresh for me because he's got a 1-year-old.
I don't blame her. That's a lot to jump into a relationship with somebody that has a 1-year-old.
Why? I mean, it's only one kid.
Well, you got to look at it from Red's perspective. He doesn't have the 1-year-old every day. I wouldn't want to date a woman with a 1-year-old because she's probably going to have that kid majority of the time. That's just a lot.
It's the baby mama drama, huh?
And there's that.
That's what I was waiting for you to say. We get down to round 4, and this now the guys get a chance to ask a question. There are a couple of guys left, Kingston and Gerard and Chi. What stood out to you in this part right here?
Kingston, because he asked her, do you wear a lot of makeup? And I'm looking at all the makeup she has on, and she says, no, only if I go out to the club or to an event, but really I don't wear much makeup. And then he said, well, how long does it take you to put on makeup when you do wear makeup? And she said 2 hours. He went pop.
Yo, that was hilarious. He just immediately, bow. You know, why? I don't. If I call you and I say, hey, babe, let's go out to eat, I don't have time to be sitting in the parking lot. Which, interesting that he said that, because why did he say the parking lot and not like, you know, I don't have time to sit around and wait? Why the parking lot? Why all of a sudden you?
I don't know.
Where did the parking lot come from?
I don't know. And I didn't know. Why did Kingston have on that Fat Albert hat? Like, look like one of the Fat Albert kids.
That was his style, man. Leave that man alone. I mean, you bird. Well, you know, so two people left after that, and it's Chi and Gerard, and then Chi popped his balloon upon hearing the answer to the question that Gerard asked. Because Gerard asked, "How do you show someone you care about them?" And he popped it because he's like, "Yo, why would you say something to the guy to tell you how you're supposed to treat him and show him that you care? You should kind of try to figure that out and learn that, right?"
No, that's young thought process. You should be able to tell a person, this is how I need to feel loved, and I need to feel that you care. It's not for them to just guess and figure it out. I think it was a valid thing.
I thought that was a weird answer too. I thought his reason. He just said,
"You should know what I like."
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird too. Even though at the same time, Gerard then agrees and said he was looking for a more specific answer with actions. Now that I agree, because her actions didn't really say a whole lot. And so I agree in that part. So she ended up having no balloons left. But Kingston, who really, how he was dressed, you brought up his Fat Albert hat. Dina says, "Kingston, do you wear a lot of odd crochet hats?" Baby doll thought Kingston was weird. And Dina said he looked like he needed to wash clothes. He did. He really did. Even though the women were like, "I do like his style, though."
Yeah.
See, the grunge look is back.
Yeah.
The grunge look with grandma's Christmas gift is back.
The Saturday laundromat outfit.
Next up was Taylor, right? Mm-hmm. And Taylor, when she came up, she's a staffing coordinator. So I figured you'd probably like her immediately.
I did, just because of that.
She likes to go to the gym, you know, likes Pilates, yoga, likes painting, and she likes going to concerts.
Mm-hmm. Which tells me 23 for the streets.
Her deal breakers, if she was in the age range for you, would have cut you completely out. Because she's like,
exactly.
No relationship with God. It's like, that's the answer that seems to pop up every single time on this show.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I get it. Mm-hmm. Go for what you want. I totally understand that.
So she had to pop 3 balloons, right? Mm-hmm. And she does. Which one stood out to you?
Junior, the recruiter, because I would have thought they would have connected just off that.
Right.
But she didn't know anything about him or what he did yet at that point. But she popped it
just off looks. This is all off looks.
Yeah, just off looks. Because he had the sunglasses on, which I agree. Why are you wearing shades in that
As
room?
a recruiter, should he have known better?
Yes. You should have known, but you're trying to put your best foot forward. Your best foot forward is not shades in a dating contest. That just doesn't make sense. And so then she asked, he's like, "Oh, you want me to take him off?" And he did, and didn't get any better because he still didn't look at her.
No, he
make
sure
good eye
didn't.
contact. He
was like, he didn't even open his eyes. It was really weird. Karen says they were all too young. Well, were they though? Because they were all in the same age range, right? Well, kind of, sort of. When we look at it, there was a 10-year age range from the youngest person there to the oldest person there. So at least they were maybe a little young for that gap of that big of a 10-year gap. Like if they were all 5 years older, that 10-year gap wouldn't seem so big. But it is a difference here, right? Dina says he recruits for Ray-Bans.
Yeah, Junior's the oldest one. He's 31.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like I said, if they're all 5 years older, that wouldn't even seem as bad, right? I thought when Namdi, because here's the thing I noticed. When Tony was out there, Namdi said he was 29. Mm-hmm. Taylor comes out, and let's see. I just want to make sure here, because Tony was 25, right? He says, I'm 29. Taylor comes out, she's 23. So what's your name? And how old are you? I'm Namdi. I'm 28. Wait, hold up. Did he just say? And then she says he looks like his ex. So she popped his balloon. I'm like, okay, I can see that. Because then he's like, oh, well, he must be attractive or you don't like him now because this and all this other stuff. Then he says his age again and says he's 29. I'm like, wait, did he lose a year and then get it back? What happened? Did this man forget how old he is?
Maybe he's just nervous. The cameras,
No, that's when you start to feel old. You forget how old you are. Because look, I always say I'm still celebrating my 21st. Why? Because it would never match up to the 20th. And that's why.
My knees remind me how old I am.
Oh, my legs still remind me from Thursdays. Now, the next round, what are you passionate about? You could talk about for hours was a question that she asked all the guys. Any of those answers stood out to you?
Kingston's answer, because he's passionate about Marvel and conspiracy theories, which the conspiracy theory thing kind of surprised me. But
did it?
She said that she goes, okay, I can feel you on conspiracy theories, but she's not into Marvel. And he said, wait, you're not into Marvel? Then he acted like he was going to pop his balloon. I thought that was funny.
Funny, and I thought it showed because he looks like he has absolutely zero personality when he talks, right? And I think that showed that he had a fun side to him. Because even she was like, wait, what? You're going to... Because I thought she would say, oh, yeah, Marvel, me too. Instead, she went, conspiracy theories, me too. Well, now that shocked me. But the fact that he was able to show that fun side, I thought was kind of cool in that manner. For me, I think it was when she popped Mark's balloon, and it's because his answer was, about the music and building a life with his family in the future. And she's like, yep, I've never dated a rapper, and I ain't about that life, so you got to go.
Which I totally respect that, because if he's always on the road and all that stuff, you know what happens on the road. He could be the one that's not like that, but she has some concerns.
Well, he's going to have a hit first. To be on the road all the time. Let's just be real. She has a great question next, though. What do you value more, honesty or loyalty? Mm-hmm. I thought this was a good question. How'd you feel about the question and some of those answers that came out?
I like the question. Mm-hmm. I get it. I would have said honesty if she asked me that question. But Gerard, he said loyalty. And so she wound up popping his because she preferred honesty. Because I think that makes sense. If I'm honest with you, I think loyalty comes with that. But I don't want you to be loyal and not be honest with me.
But that's okay. And see, so here's the thing, because his response was, if you're loyal, you'd be honest, right? So that was his train of thought. And he said loyalty, Chi said loyalty, Kingston said loyalty, because everybody lies. And then Sean is the only one that agreed with you and went with honesty, right? But he also says, loyalty too, but if I had to pick one over the other, it's honesty. And she, of course, picked it. So she pops Kingston because he be lying, because he said everybody lies. And he tried to, look, I got to give Kingston his props on this one, sorry. Because he said, if you say, do I look fat in this? Somewhere along those lines. Or, how's your day going? And I say, it's okay, even though it's not. And that's the lying he was talking about. Big mistake, though, Kingston. You tell a woman you lie, she's going to believe you lie about everything.
Right. That's the little white lies that we all do. How you doing, Terrell? I'm fine. You're not going to really tell it. And you don't really want to know. If I ask somebody how they're doing, I don't really want to know the real deal. If it's like just an acquaintance. So I get it.
Yeah. And maybe that's why, right? So round 4, what stood out in this part? Because this is where the guys get to ask the questions.
No, round 4, she asked about the weekend getaway, right?
No, yeah. Well, it's the guys asked the question first, and she asked her, how do you resolve a conflict, right? And that's when she's like, she needs to take a second to think about it, and then about the silent treatment, right? So there's that part where she says she does, but doesn't do it subconsciously. She does it more so subconsciously than on purpose. It's just like, okay, I need a minute to kind of step away.
I missed notes on that part.
Because, they kind of went to a next one after that, because as they're trying to get these people down, and then it gets down to 2 people, which is Sean and Chi, and it gets down to the weekend getaway. If we had to do a weekend getaway, where do we go? What are we doing? And I'll be honest with you, I thought this guy completely disappeared, but apparently he was there. and gave your favorite answer.
It's just short. You couldn't see him. So Sean's answer for the weekend getaway is, I don't know, go to Top Golf, like an interactive date, maybe go bowling or do some mini golf. I'm thinking, where's the getaway? And if you're going to take a girl on a getaway, yeah, are you going to take a girl on a getaway to go play Top Golf? Let's travel to Las Vegas and go play Top Golf. That's just crazy.
I thought it's because she's like, has to be like, okay, but this is going to be easy. I get this because he didn't answer the question. So she's like, oh, I'll take you to San Diego. We'll go chill, have dinner, go nice place, do this. And she's like, yeah, I want more fun. I'm going with Sean. Pops cheese balloon.
Yeah, because she wants to be out in the streets having some fun. And at her age, 23, yeah, she's not ready to go to an Airbnb in San Diego and relax. What is she relaxing from?
Now, when he said the Airbnb, I kind of was like, okay, now that's a little... you haven't even been on the first date yet, bro. You might be pushing it a little bit. But
well, you'd assume that she's saying we were in a relationship and we take a weekend getaway. It's not like we're going on a weekend getaway tomorrow as strangers. Let's go get an Airbnb. No.
But you can go to Top Golf tomorrow and see. That's what she was thinking, short term. By the way, Dina says Top Golf is on the outskirts of the city, so therefore it is a weekend getaway.
Okay.
It's a staycation.
Okay.
You know how we talk about a lot of the women asking, saying about the relationship with God. Baby Doll says, I'm starting to think that women only say they want a man of God because it's a trending thing to say. Half these chicks probably act like the devil 5 days a week. Well, that's also most people in church on Sunday. So,
well, a lot of those twerking videos and stuff you see on IG, they're in church on Sunday.
Some of those dollar bills you've seen. Okay, let me see. I'm just saying.
The ushers grabbing the basket, taking the money out. Diamond?
Smells familiar.
Diamond, is that you?
Shh, shh. Come on, Brother John. Oh, my God. Next woman up was Mariah. Now, she works in radio promotions, and she's looking for a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And when they talk about her deal breakers, she's like, of course, good relationship with family and with, don't mind if you have a baby mama, but you got to have a good relationship with a baby mama.
Fair. You know, she doesn't want any of the drama, but said you got to have a good family. And then my man Daryl popped his. And I get it, right? Because Daryl, he's a foster kid, and apparently he's been through some things. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was living in Lincoln, and all these people I met that had these really super close-knit families, they do all this stuff. It's weird to me. You know, so Daryl's like, that's not going to be for me. Pop.
Yeah. Okay, and it felt like he misunderstood. And here's the thing I noticed. Arlette didn't do like she did in episode 13, where she gave him a chance to get back his balloon. Because it felt to me like he misunderstood what she was saying. Because then she started to explain. Like, okay, no. I mean, do you have a good relationship with the family that you know? Not the family you were born to, right? Do you have a good relationship with the people around you? That's what I'm talking about. Like, not that you talk bad about them, but this. And then he says something else that makes me think that, you know, on this family thing is another reason why he also popped. He's like, man, we look like we could be related. You know, on the first date, what are we going to do? Go get a DNA test?
Yeah, go get a mouth swab. That's what we're going to do. Open
up. Any of these other people who popped as well stood out to you?
Well, I mean, she popped because he had no physical attraction to her, which I think is fair. But at least he let her introduce herself fully before, and then eventually he popped. He didn't wait till she came walking around the corner and popped it.
As soon as she steps onto the white, pow! No. And then Namdi.
So one thing I liked about what Namdi, she came out saying that she's normally been leading herself. She wants someone else to be the leader and she can follow. And Namdi popped because he feels in a mutual relationship, no one needs to lead or follow. It's a partnership. And I agree with that. I agree with that thought process. I don't want someone to be with me like you're going to be leading no, we're a team. Some days my decisions are going to go. Some days your decisions are going to go. But it's not about who leads or follows. So I respect what
Please
Nani
stop
said.
it. As the control freak you are, that's what you believe?
Yeah, that's totally what I believe.
Okay. I hear you.
Yeah, I've never had a relationship where I was leading them to do anything. I might have led them to not mess up my kitchen, but that's different. But I normally did all the cleaning, so if I cooked for them, I cleaned. What a big deal.
Okay. All right. I'm just making sure here. Now, she did ask, she says, I've got my degree in communication, so that means I'm a good communicator. Are you a good communicator? Which I thought was a weird way to say it, but okay, I'll take it.
Right. I mean, I have my degree in communications as well, but I don't think it's the degree that makes you a good communicator. But so, yeah.
I like your homeboy Red, man, because Red was like, I'm an excellent communicator because I talk a lot. He said he's a good listener to because my ears is open. And I went, yep.
Yeah, they are. At least Kingston admitted it. He said, I'm not the best at communication, but his reasoning just throws me off because I'm always on call and things are always happening. Like, what does that have to do with you communicating to your partner? Mm-hmm. So she wound up popping his balloon because he's not a good communicator.
But, okay, and that's the thing I didn't understand because I felt like he was honest. He said he's not a good communicator, but he says he's a great listener. And what he was saying was, I'm not the person that's always going to tell you exactly, like something happens, okay, this. And if that's what she needs, you tell me every step you're going. I think that's what he was thinking of it. Then he's like, yeah, no, it makes sense for her to pop it. But at the same time, it's not like she wanted somebody who listens. He listens.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds like
his reasons for not being able to be a good communicator is because he's on call and always has things happening. That just makes no sense.
Now, for round 3, she asked a very important question. I know this stood out for you. I'm just going to put his picture up here because she says, do you know how to change a tire? And Gerard was like, nope.
I'll just pay someone to do that. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, Gerard, same. Now, I know how to change a tire. I just don't want to.
Yo, funny thing, in Atlanta, I end up, this is the closest I got to Magic City, right? Tire got shredded. I ended up having to pull over in the parking lot behind it. Guy comes to try and, so I call for a tow truck. He gets there, he's like, man, don't tell me you made me come out here to change your tire. I said, you try to take them lug nuts off. Watch that man almost pop a blood vessel trying to turn it. It was like, I said, see, you still got jokes? Because he wanted to test my manhood because I called for somebody to get it. Now you understand why. Good brother. Yeah. Now put it on the back of that truck and take it where somebody's got a drill to do this.
Yeah, do your job.
Because I got to go to mine. I don't need to go to my job sweaty. Do your job. So I agree with Gerard, and I feel you, and that's why. And I saw that, I just laughed because I thought of you immediately. Red, on the other hand, is like, hey man, I'm a mechanic. I'm gonna fix the whole car. I can do it all.
Yeah. Red talks that game.
Round 4, what stood out to you in that final round as it gets down to the last 2 people? Because she popped Mark's balloon because she said the other answers were better.
Right.
It's down between Gerard and Red. What stood out between these 2 for you?
Well, between those 2, Red. I'll go Gerard. So Gerard said that, asked like, do you like texting? And she said her phone dies a lot, which I just don't understand in 2024 how that happens. I mean, there's so many access to. I have 4 chargers. I just don't see how you have a dead phone. But at least you can call her and she'll answer on her MacBook. So I like the fact that she's not all about texting. She wants a phone call. And while she's gaming, the phone call will come through, so she'll be able to catch the call.
And the neighbors can hear your entire conversation because she's got it on her MacBook, which is blasting loud enough for everybody else to hear over the game. So, okay, everybody else is going to hear it.
Maybe she's okay with that.
I like when she pops the balloon and they say why, and she's like, she pops the Gerard's balloon and she's like, well, that's because Red's my guy. My guy's down there. My connection's down there. Like, that was just so direct. Like, because they connected on the video game, she's like, no, that's my guy right there. Immediately. There wasn't even, oh, I liked his answer better. Oh, we share a love for video games. No, that's my guy. And I love that.
But I didn't love it because she had a problem or a flaw, and so did Red.
Yeah.
She didn't ask if anybody had kids.
Mm-hmm.
And Red didn't say, hey, before I say yes, I need you to know I have a 1-year-old. Are you okay with that? That should have happened before they would have matched up. But if they just want to go sit and play video games all day, great.
Well, I mean, when the baby's crying and you turn the volume up on the TV, he'll be fine. Baby doll says, I like Red's energy. He seems like a positive dude. Did you get that?
Okay. I mean, he has a lot of energy. That's great. Now the question is it controlled energy? Like what is happening with all that energy? And where's it going to go? I don't know.
She's young, he's young. They bond on that video game. And you're right though. He didn't reveal that, but if he's going by don't ask, don't tell, she'll find out in time. And she didn't ask that important question. And maybe that's just not that important to her. Because she said, here's the thing, she did say, it doesn't matter if you have a baby mama, as long as you have a good relationship with them.
Well, it should matter if you have a 1-year-old. That's a lot.
That's just your hating ass joke.
I think that's for anybody. I mean, ladies in the chat, would you date a guy with a 1-year-old?
None of these women in the chat are 21. There's a difference. She's not 21. She was. No, she's 27.
She's 27. So when you were 27, would you date a guy with a 1-year-old? And you don't have any kids of your own. It's gonna be a lot of nopes and no's coming through here.
Yeah. Baby doll's like, nope, I'm 29. So yeah, I know. Yeah. I try to take it to the lowest common denominator, the lowest age I could go.
I know. Your typical apples to oranges. That's what you do.
Hey, just testing the boundaries here. Got to see what we are. Dina says not 27 or 50. Gaucho Girl says no. Karen says no. Oh yeah, so yeah, a lot of no's in that. We kind of assumed that would come up as well too. But they did. She's fine. Their match, and we move on. Before we move on, though, I gotta say this because you said the whole thing about the leader, and you don't feel that you have to lead in the relationship 100% of the time. Dina says the guy who says who makes the most money has the power.
Yeah. No. If you're going to use my words against me,
of course.
Let's do it right. What I talked about is we were talking finances and the financial power. And the challenge in some of those relationships that I was addressing is that woman was in charge because the dude, like on 90 Day Fiancé, he had some money. So that's why she's talking to him crazy because he's broke. But if you have two people that both have money, regardless, I think in any relationship, sometimes you're going to have to lead, sometimes you have to follow. But it shouldn't be that this is your role to be the follower all the time, and this is your role to be the leader all the time. And most people that I find that say they want that follower lead relationship, that's what they're wanting. They're wanting somebody to be the head of household, and then they're going to follow. I don't think that's the way the world is right now.
Okay, let's be real. A lot of women who are in positions of power at work will say, I lead at work, I don't want to lead at home, right? Do you think that means they're going to follow everything that man at home says? Because when he wants to do something that she doesn't, she's going, hold up.
So how is that any different than what I just said is sometimes you lead and sometimes you follow? How is that different than what I said?
All right, I'm going to leave you alone.
Yeah, good try.
Good
try.
Next up was Lyra. She's an insurance agent who's looking for a man, guess what? With a relationship with God.
Yep.
Who can swim and is a good person at heart. And her deal breaker, which I know you would love this part, if he has no vision.
Boom. I think it's a great deal breaker for someone at 24. That's good.
I like that because she didn't go into details. Hey, if you have no vision, we ain't got nothing. All right, plain and simple. And I definitely love that when she said that. There were two pop balloons here. Chi, who says he popped his because he's aquatically challenged. And then Kingston, who also is aquatically challenged, but he's just like, hey, I'm big. I can't float.
And then Arlette was like, well, you can learn how to No, I'm good.
Yo, she tried her damnedest to help her. You can take lessons and learn. No, I'm too big. I'm too big. I'm like,
I'm good.
Just tell us you're scared of the water. It's fine.
Could you imagine his big butt on one of those little styrofoam floaty things that you learn how to swim on, like when you're a kid?
Yeah.
He's too big for that.
He's not. Round 2, because after that, of course, she gets to ask a question since some balloons will pop. Do you see marriage in the future or not? Here's the thing. I like this question from Lyra, right? Mm-hmm. Because she said, "What does marriage mean to you? What is and what do you see it in your future, or you just like, nah, I don't ever want it?" Because people don't think about that as a question to ask somebody sometimes, and it's a great question to ask if that's what you want in your future, right?
Right. She's doing a great job at asking some questions. Mm-hmm. Again, to be so young, I totally respect that.
Yeah, because she was, 24, right?
Yeah, she's 24. Now, what's crazy is Junior, he said yes, that marriage is important to him. It's definitely what he wants in his life and wants to get to. But she winds up popping his balloon because he's 31 and thinks that he's ready to get married tomorrow just because he's older. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm 49. I've not been married. Like, why is that a deal breaker for her? But she thinks he's going to try to rush the whole marriage thing.
Okay. She popped it because he's 31. And like, okay, so you're closer to making that decision. I'm not there yet. In 7 years, you're going to be damn near 40, over the hill, done for, kaput, ready to get Social Security. So, no. She's 24. That's what she's thinking, okay? I'm sorry. Because he had a great answer. His parents married 40 plus years, so yes, it's important. Right. But I think what she did was found a way to say, you're a little too old for me, in a much nicer way.
Right. Pretty much what it boiled down to.
Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't crazy because...
No, you're not crazy at all in that.
That's what it felt like to me when I saw that, right? She also popped Mark's balloon and said it's because, and she was very honest in why. She's like, I'm just not, there's no physical attraction. And he's like, I can swim though.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I might get in the water. But I mean, she's not attracted to him.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. It's totally fine. At least she didn't say it's because of his weight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, and she's like, look, physical attraction, that's part of it. I got to have it. And we don't have it. All well and good. Round 3, she ends up popping Daryl's balloon because she says she needs a more stable partner than that of an artist. Because Daryl is the artistic guy.
Right.
She's like,
the
I
rapper.
need something more stable.
Yeah.
Next round, what stood out to you in this one?
The next round, what stood out to me is Nnamdi. Mm-hmm. Because so I think Nnamdi had a chance to ask her some questions, and he asked her about world economics and politics, and she's she wants to be a world changer and all that stuff, which is great. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, okay, do you want kids? And she says she wants a soccer team. And I'm thinking to myself, what? I want a soccer team and leave a legacy, and they will be well off. I'm thinking to myself, you dropped out of college, and what she said that she's a college dropout. Mm-hmm. And she's an insurance agent. That's not enough to build, long wealth with a soccer team of kids. Mm-hmm. That just makes no sense to me. Well, I mean, but when you're 24, you say crazy stuff like that because you think that could happen. But as a realist, you're not going to have 10 kids, without hitting the lottery or having a husband or you have a big job that pays a lot or you have a husband that's an executive. That's a lot of mouths to feed. So what legacy are you going to live?
The thing I thought was interesting was that Gerard self-pops because of what she said about wanting to be a world changer. He's like, I'm a little more selfish than that, right? So
like, I'm worried about me right now.
Gerard's like, yeah, I'll donate to charity, but I'm not going over to all these places and try to be a world changer because, like you said, here's what she has, here's what he's working on, and he's just like, yeah, I'm a little more selfish. I'm not about being a humanitarian. He doesn't really pop his balloon, but they almost like, no, go ahead and pop it yourself. Like, go ahead and pop it. So he pops it, and then it's her and Nnamdi left. Come to find out, as the two of them are standing there, he lives in Baltimore. She says she's not opposed to trying long distance, but you better stay in contact, and that moment is when he should have been pow, because this ain't gonna work.
Yeah, the moment you don't respond to her text within 30 minutes, it's gonna be a problem. Who you out with? Why it take you so long to respond? And that 4 hour commute, so maybe let's say she has money and really good at saving.
4
That's gonna be
hour flight.
expensive.
There's a
4 hour
difference.
flight, yeah, 4 hour flight. That's gonna be a lot of travel.
Yeah.
You know, although I do like how Nambi said on Southwest is about 4 hours. I'm like, yes, Southwest, that's my airline.
Boo. And let me stop that because I gotta travel on Southwest coming up. They got a match though. They walked off of this match. But I think she gave him the clues that this is not going to work. She's 24 and telling you, I'm not opposed to trying long distance. No, I don't want you to try long distance. We either going to do or not do. In the words of Yoda, there is no try. Do or do not. There is no try.
Maybe we'll see them on season 2 of Never Ever Mets.
I thought y'all met already. Next person up, though, as we get to the final 2, right? This was so funny to me. And I wonder if you saw it, too. He said, what's your name? And where are you from? Say, my name, 25. She goes, okay, and what's your name? Because I did the thing too. Like, did she say my name? And then, oh no, her name is my name. And so Arlette was like, no, your name.
I couldn't understand her. I couldn't understand her at all. Just the way she talked. I was totally annoyed just by her communication. I would have popped as soon as she said that.
I knew you were. I the minute she started talking, I'm like, Terrell is probably punching his TV right now. She said she's looking for a protector, and her deal breaker is narcissist.
Fair, but she just doesn't say much. Like, that's just what annoys me. She just doesn't really say much.
Yeah.
You know, so how do you engage in conversation with somebody like that? You know, what's your deal breakers? A narcissist. What's some things you like to do? Like to make music and travel. Okay, elaborate. Say something. Give these guys a chance to get to know a little bit what your personality is like, which she didn't do.
Well, she doesn't have one. She that was clearly on display today because pop 2 balloons. She pops Junior. She pops Mark. What? Why? Not a reason. Just had to.
Yeah.
Mark.
Oh no.
What? Just had to. You're like, okay, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. She was giving absolutely nothing. But then she's forced to give more than 2-word answers when she has to ask a question like, "What do you like in a woman?" What stood out to you from one of the guys? Any of the guys there?
It was Chi, because he said intelligence, someone funny, and someone you can hold a conversation with. And in parentheses, I put, that's not her. And then eventually he popped his balloon himself because just that reason. She is not, I can't say she's not intelligent because I don't know that sister like that, but holding conversation, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it's funny too because she goes out, she's talking to a couple other people, and he just like, pow! And I'm like, okay, well, why'd you pop your balloon? Well, you know, I usually like a more bubbly personality. And then she goes, well, you know, I'm kind of nervous now, but I do have one.
Sometimes she does. No. I need to know what I'm getting myself into. Like, give me something to make me want to try to talk to you more. And she just doesn't do that.
Is it when the right song comes on, some Sexy Red comes on, all of a sudden your personality gets bubbly? You know, a couple drinks in, is that what it is? Because, yeah, you're right. She wasn't giving that at that moment. And I get it. Some people, not everybody's comfortable in front of the cameras, though, and with a microphone, right? So maybe that was it. You notice that King, as he is now called, instead of Kingston, he changed his name as he went through. He's like, nah, I'm just a king. He says he doesn't want to talk to a dead horse. And I'm like, he probably should have popped his balloon too, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, which we know he will. But
then she asked, do you believe in God? And this is when we get more.
Yeah, Daryl was my favorite. But yes, he believes in God, but yet he couldn't say the name of his church.
Yo, he couldn't get that right.
Struggling, trying to get it right.
But he did explain that was a long name.
I get it, but if you're going regularly, you can probably spit that out. If your first service was last Sunday as a visitor, I could see you struggle. But if you're regularly going, you're going to try to shout out the church on YouTube.
Okay,
know the church's name.
To be fair, if I asked you off the interstate, what exit do you get off on, and you had to tell me the number, would you know it, or would you say, I just know where to get off?
If I'm in Austin, yeah, I-35, I can tell you.
Yeah, no, that's the
130 toll road. I can tell you what roads you need to take. Interstate is I-35. It runs right through Austin all the way to.
I didn't say the interstate. I said the exact
Dallas.
number. Like I don't go saying it, but the exact number exit that you would get off on. Yeah,
not many people would know that because that's again
so the
apples.
The name of the church is not a big deal.
That's an apples and oranges comparison. That's ridiculous.
It's not
that you go to this every single
time.
It.
You do that every day to get off.
No. I take the street name, Breaker, every time you get off. Exit Breaker. Why would I say exit 243? That doesn't make sense. Who does that? Who gives directions that way? Not apples to apples comparison.
It is, and you do tell people, okay, all right, whatever, man. You give directions differently.
I give them the street name. I could give them a number.
Well, you do if you want to give them the exact one. Okay.
Well, if they have GPS, they can figure it out with the street name. If you don't have GPS, you don't need to come to my house.
Does it matter which one they use? All right.
Yeah.
Gets down to the end. Gerard is asking all these questions. Interesting thing about this, he asked all the questions that she already answered, and then he begins another interview.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought it was kind of weird the way he was kind of questioning in that space, as in this one-on-one, all these questions.
I think he was trying to see if he can get more out of her. Mm-hmm. Because in the beginning, it was really bland. I could see how he probably forgot that, she likes music, travel. So maybe he was just trying to see if he can get more out of her is why he did that.
Yeah. When he says he's in Baltimore, long distance deal breaker for her, she walks off with nobody, no match here. By the way, Baby Doll says, nah, you got to know the name of your church, dog. I'm Team Terrell on this one.
Thank you. Now, speaking of Daryl, what'd you think about him calling her out on the tattoo? He's like, I'm sorry. She has a man tattooed on her leg. And then I like how she tried to justify it. It's Biggie and Tupac. Then that told me all I need to know. That told me all I need to know. She's going to walk out there, pull out a Newport, and be like, I was on this show, girl.
No, she pulled her skirt up and showed, I got Lauryn Hill, too.
Yeah.
See which one of the guys was probably like, what else you got?
Yeah. If you got a Tupac tattoo, Biggie tattoo, and a Lauryn Hill tattoo, she got to be to work in the morning.
Lovey says that was not Tupac, that was 3-Pac. Yeah. When they zoomed in, I was like, wait a minute. Even Arlette was like, where's Biggie? But it's funny because when he's like, yeah, I popped it because I saw there's a man on her leg. To which Derica says, who puts celebrities on their body? People do weird stuff.
They do. It's their body. I get it. It's your body. It's your canvas. Do what you want with it. But deal with what comes with that.
Lovey also said earlier she just learned the word narcissist. And Derica says, look, hey, you want to put Biggie and Tupac, get a poster, put it on your wall like the 90s.
That's the way. Frame it. That way you don't have to worry about it messing up. Frame it.
Exactly. That's the way to do it. By the way, Baby Doll said this earlier about Chi. Said he looked like he got hips. Y'all just mean, man. I swear.
Oh, goodness.
The last person to come up was Sequoia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when Sequoia walks up, this is where I really admire Arlette and her ability to ignore the sound of the balloons popping. Because, jeez, it was like a firing squad.
Mm-hmm. It was. And I don't believe all the reasons some of the guys said why they popped. Because did you notice that as soon as she said, I'm Sequoia, how old are you? I'm 21. And what do? I'm a nail tech. Pop! Pop! Yeah, because I would have, as soon as I heard nail tech, pop.
Yo, that thing was so hilarious. Because as soon as she said that, they just like, God. But it's the 21. And easy thing with this. Age was an issue for just about everybody. It was age, and then it was, what was the other part? Yeah. Style. They did not like her style, which she said, look, I had to rush here. It was last minute. she would have dressed up better if she knew she was going to be there.
Right. I know. And I gotta pull this up. So Dorica says nail techs make money though. Yeah, they do. So do bartenders, but I wouldn't date that either.
Why?
Just wouldn't. Where I'm at in my career, I'm like, no, I don't want to date bartender. Wouldn't. But she's 21. She has nothing but upside in her career, so that she could be going to school. She didn't say that. Yeah. But not saying that this is all she's going to do.
She's only a nail tech so she could pay her way through college.
Could be. But you got the cybersecurity guy, you got the HR guy, you got the recruiter. These people have like professions that they might not want to say, I'm going to date a 21-year-old nail tech.
Okay. So one of her, when they asked about her deal breaker, she said, a non-believer, nothing going for yourself, and if you have kids, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Daryl pops his balloon when asked. He says, "Hey, I'm a father, so I pop my balloon." And then she goes, "Well, I really don't mind kids, but I said it because some of these guys look like they have kids." Some of the old ass looking men look like y'all got kids.
Sense. That made no sense. Y'all all look like you might have some kids, so I just won't put that out there. But I'm okay with kids. That's ridiculous.
Yo, what's so funny is that it looks like Arlett's trying to give Daryl a chance to get his balloon back, but she's like, because she says, I don't mind. Well, one, I don't mind that, and he's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
and I agree.
The fact that you said that, yeah, no, you blew it. But again, this is how I feel like I want to know what the vetting process is, how they get these people picked. Are they literally just pulling people off the street with no plan, with no thought that they're going on a dating show to be able to be prepared to think about these type of questions? Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Dorica then said that the outfit was pretty bad. Dina says, "Yep, that is. They pulled her off the street. They did." Lovey says that outfit didn't belong anywhere. I mean, it's a. Hey, I gotta go to the store real quick. Fine.
Right. I'm gonna go pick up some. I gotta go to the store, grab a couple things, and then all of a sudden they pull her. Hey, what are you doing for the next time? We'll give you a gift card for $50 off your groceries at Price Chopper if you just come in and do this with us.
Look, it just gave 21. It gave exactly what it was. She's 21, right?
Right.
Like when Dorica also said, she basically said, y'all look old. Because even Junior was like, yo, she was talking about me. She thought I had kids. That's exactly what it was. Oh my God. Look, Tamara says, now I got to start watching this show. You all are cracking me up. Look, this show is hilarious. I like it. I like this show.
And kudos what she's doing. I mean, you talk about a grassroots dating show that she's put together that, as I was watching it earlier today, it's been up for 2 days and almost 1 million views. Mm-hmm. So she's doing a phenomenal thing for her brand and what she's building. So her platform, I think it's great. Oh yeah, no,
that's why I was like, look, once I watched the full episode, that's why I said after 13, I'm like, yo, we got to do this one. This is hilarious. By the way, Baby Doll says something that we should do is a whole segment on Terrell's turnoffs. Now he doesn't want a nail tech, but I understand.
Is there anything about me before I said that made you think I would consider a nail tech? Did you think that was on the table before I said that tonight? And no disrespect to nail techs. I think they're great.
Yeah.
But that's not where I want to be right now.
By the way, one thing that Baby Doll said earlier, didn't understand Daryl's answer to the marriage question. What did he mean by he didn't like the government's way of marriage or whatever the heck he said? So, do you remember that answer? When he was asked about marriage and he's like, yeah, but I think he's talking about the woman getting half if it's over.
Right.
That's what I took away from it. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm apples to oranges.
That's what I did too. It's because he's thinking that because you get married, it's a piece of paper, right? We've talked about this on other shows. It's a piece of paper, but the legality behind it, that you just can't easily walk away without some money being exchanged. And I think that's where because he brought up the finance part. Mm-hmm. And that's what made me think he's more worried about divorce.
Right. That's the whole thing. And I get it. He's an artist.
Doesn't have money.
Get married. He blows up. She wasn't with you shooting in the gym. I get it.
Prenup.
There you go.
Prenup.
What did Chris Rock say? The great philosopher Christopher Rockenstein. If you make $30 million and she wants half, ain't no problem. You still got 15. But if you make 30,000,
yeah, that's different.
By the way, Valerie says if Tara went on the show, those balloons would have been popped after 2 steps in. And I think she's talking about you. For these people walking in, you would have popped the balloon immediately. Now, I've said that before to you, not as we live stream, but off the record, and you said that wouldn't be you. Why?
That wouldn't be. I would let a person at least introduce themselves before. I wouldn't just pop just by how they looked when they came around the corner. Now, as soon as I heard 21, pop. 23, pop.
I gotta be the work.
Pop. Yeah. So if it was age appropriate, around my age, if they were having people that were, let's say, 39 to 53, okay, that would be different. But I wouldn't be on the show to try to talk to some 20-something.
To which Dina did point this out, and I actually started before. I said, y'all should do one for the 40-plus crowd.
It's a lot of work. Kudos to Arlette. They have a team. We have full-time day jobs. We don't live in the same city. If we can figure out a way to do this remotely, maybe, but...
No, agreed. I think the 40 plus, and there's so many parts of this, right? Because there's a lot that goes into putting these things out. Great to do it, but especially once you send people out on dates, you become liable for a lot of stuff that happens, and there's a lot of crazy people. But yeah, you're right. It would be fun to do, but yeah. Let's go ahead and start the GoFundMe and go ahead and set up for the production.
We could do something. Let's say we did it live. Let's say we did it live and did it all online. Yo, no.
I'm stopping you right now.
Yeah, but I mean, you could call it something like, move ahead or get the boot. And so as the guy introduces himself, we ask the ladies, hey, what do you think? And the ladies say the boot, then we drop him out of the show. Hey, Yanni, they don't like you. Thanks for playing. Boot. And you get booted out.
And there we go.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Nah. It's interesting, and I think one for the 40-plus crowd will be a good one too, though. And I guarantee that people are doing that. Before we get out of here, last thing. Tamara says, I don't get men. Men make money, drive fancy cars to flaunt it to us, and then want a prenup. The math ain't mathin'. Tamara, that fancy car is bait.
That's what we get to attract you, because the dude that drove the Nissan Sentra, you didn't want him. And he was a good dude, and he wouldn't have made you sign a prenup. But if I'm driving a Porsche and I have $1 million home, prenup.
Hey, what's the famous question nowadays that men ask? What do you bring to the table?
Oh goodness! Don't start that. Don't piss anybody off.
Change those emojis real quick.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's funny. You have all this money and all this fancy stuff that you attracted me, and now you want me to sign a prenup?
But she does have a good point, though. But yeah, it's bait. Men don't drive fancy cars because we just like fancy cars.
And for us to keep it, if the relationship doesn't work, prenup. I'm not going from a Porsche to a Nissan Sentra because you ain't happy in the relationship anymore. No.
Look, I got my wife. That's why I drive a family-friendly car. I don't need a sports car anymore. Hey, look, man, we'll be back, later next week.
Yeah, Wednesday next week for our Random Thought Live. I'm traveling to California tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. flight, man. Why did I do that to myself?
Okay, Ted Cruz, I know what it really is. You're just getting out of here before...
for the hurricane?
Yeah, I know that's what it is. Hey, I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm Just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at the RGRTPod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit found on the internet. We'll talk about it on the show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.